Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Adjusted for Risk podcast from the shores of Lake Tahoe. It's no secret that the advancement of technology is greatly impacting the wealth management space, and that's a good thing, right? As the advancements can help financial advisors make their practices more efficient and enhance that client experience. Well, today's conversation is a perfect example of this evolution. I have been really excited for today's episode that includes two fantastic guests who are at the forefront of the technology-fueled evolution of the wealth management space, and I'm sure is going to provide us with a lot of valuable insights. But first, today's episode is sponsored by the award-winning Zephyr, which helps advisors, wealth managers, financial analysts, and investment professionals make more informed investment decisions. So I'd like to welcome Daniel Kinney and Kristian Borghesan of FutureVault. Daniel is the Chief Executive Officer, while Kristian is the Chief Marketing Officer of FutureVault. With that, I'm going to stop talking and turn it over to the stars of the show, Daniel and Kristian. So let's go ahead and start. Daniel, can you start by just telling us a little bit more about yourself, and then Kristian, you too, and then also a little bit more about FutureVault.
Sure. And thank you, Ryan, for today and for inviting us today. Very nice to meet everyone. My name is Daniel Kinney. I've taken over as CEO of FutureVault in January of last year, 2022. Prior to that, I spent 22 plus years in the banking industry. And my training is as an engineer, like a computer engineer. So throughout my banking career, I was heavily involved in systems development, architecture, deployment in Japan, Indonesia, the US, and New York, and then Toronto. And during that journey, obviously, I saw the importance of security, technology, and always trying to keep an eye on, cutting edge technology and making sure that we have that for our clients. So I was introduced to the concept of FutureVault through a mutual acquaintance. I was on the board, saw the product and fell in love with it based on a lot of the challenges that I saw in banking in terms of storing documents securely for clients, making it easy for clients to access data and reusing that data for things like a KYC refresh and all these processes related to a bank or wealth management in the financial services sector. So anyway, that's my background, and I've been at the shop now for just over a year and a half, and very excited with the progress we've been making and the recognition in the market on the critical importance of security, data, documents. They're all synonymous in terms of if you have a document, you have data, and you got to secure that data, and then making that accessible to your family, to your banker, to your lawyer, etc., in a secure vault type construct.
Fantastic. And Kristian?
Yeah, thanks, Ryan. And I want to double down on Daniel's note there. Just thanks for having us. Really looking forward to this conversation. You and I spoke a little bit. It was either last week or 2 weeks ago, I think, just kind of prepping for this, and we've got a good one. So I'm excited for it. But as you quickly introduced, I am the Chief Marketing Officer here at FutureVault. I've been with the firm just shy of 3 years now, and my responsibilities, my overall role, and the tasks that I get faced with are very exciting. I mean, for one, it's always energizing to sort of sit in the middle of where this innovation is taking place and what's sort of emerging across the industry. FutureVault sits right in the middle of all of that, especially as we deal with a lot of partners in different categories. And two, I have, let's call it, a very multifaceted role, being in an executive leadership position at a high growth startup where I get to wear many hats. And that's one thing that I do thoroughly love. And it allows me to do things like this, to talk to industry professionals like yourself, come on podcasts, meet with our clients, our prospects, and just being able to work on very cool projects, actually like what we're doing with Zephyr right now in real time as well, too. And so, all of that stuff excites me. Prior to FutureVault, I worked at a number of different technology startups. Over the last 6 to 7 years, my focus shifted predominantly to fintech. startups. And so that's a bit about me. And then I guess, Daniel, if you want to introduce the company, I can share more about FutureVault, whatever you want to do.
Yeah, I'll give a quick background. The company was started with the concept of our founder having a complex life. And you have a lot of documents that go with your life. As you have a family, you start to have investments, you may have companies that you're starting up and so on. And so the idea of having documents securely stored, structured, available for, again, bringing in your trusted advisors like a banker, an accountant, a lawyer, and just really managing the complexity of documents in our lives now. Anyone who's moved abroad, you're getting your first car lease, your mortgage, etc. Everyone knows all the challenges of the documentation around that. And the idea of having what we've called a personal life management vault. And we trademarked that name. And the idea is that not just for yourself, it can be your household and associated people in your household. If you have children, those documents can go in the vault. And it's the idea of having all that centralized, secured, available. And at some point, for a child, for example, you can spin off a vault for the child and they can carry on their life as they reach, the age of majority, et cetera. But it's all about personal life management. And so we do our platform. FutureVault is for delivering B2B2C, personal life management vaults. So we deliver through wealth managers, banks, credit unions, et cetera, and B2B2B. So even some businesses, if you're a small business, you have articles of incorporation, corporate documents, et cetera. We can also do B2B2B type structures where those small businesses can organize their documents, have them secure, have them available, extract data from the documents, provide it for other systems. But that was the genesis. The genesis of FutureVault was personal life management vaults delivered on a B2B2C type construct in a secure, structured taxonomy. So you can have comfort and sleep at night, knowing that all those critical documents are safe and secure. That phrase, if I get hit by a bus, what happens to my family, the life insurance policy, et cetera, you can sleep at night knowing that everything is stored securely. Your lawyers know where they are, and they can, everything is nice and taken care of within a personal life management vault construct.
Fantastic. I think, Daniel, you just answered my first question when you said, what are, digital vaults? You answer it perfectly. There's a couple of real life examples I have where I think digital vaults would be, fantastic. We have the cloud. I'm starting to roll things out into, the cloud. So, here in Lake Tahoe, we're always in a fire danger during the summer. We were evacuated. The whole town was evacuated a couple of years ago. And I have a couple boxes of paperwork that every summer I put at the edge of the garage so I can go really quickly. And I'm in the process of putting those documents in the cloud, right? So I don't have to worry about it. And that's a perfect example for digital vaults, right? And like you said, keeps you so you can sleep well at night. So if something happens, my dad passed away tragically, 10 years ago. My mom had no idea. We were scrambling all over the place, and a digital vault would have made things so much easier back there 10, 15 years ago. So it's such a great evolution of this space. It makes things so much easier. So, and we're talking about the client experience. I think it rolls right into enhancing that client experience for financial advisors. It's so vital, really, in all businesses, not just the wealth management space. So my question is, how do digital vaults help financial advisors enhance their clients' experience and help build client relationships? Maybe start with Kristian.
Yeah. I'll take a crack at this one. This is something that we love answering because this is an area that, as you can tell, by the way, Daniel had answered, and he brought up, the personal life management vault, which is actually a trademark term. We are very bullish here at FutureVault on the client experience, and we actually believe, and we know through conversation with our customers and how they're using and provisioning vaults to their clients, that it is becoming a massive part of their technology stack and a huge value proposition for them. So really, it's all about security and protection of information, data, documents. It's about access and availability, both for the client, but then also if you think about, FINRA and SEC record keeping requirements, you've got to have that in a secure place that can be easily accessible on demand in real time for the auditors coming in. And it's about ease of use of doing business. And I'm not just talking from, a product or a user experience perspective. I really just mean a digital vault solution, FutureVault, really makes it easier for you to engage with and do business with your clients. So, if I was to say, hey, there's 4 critical areas, it would be, well, now as an advisor, as an advisory firm, whether you're an RIA or not, you now have the ability to securely manage everything in one place for your clients. You now have anytime, anywhere access, both you and your clients as well, to their documentation and information. You're now providing that peace of mind to your clients in demonstrating, hey, this solution will help you protect your important information. And if you're throwing personal documents into the vault as well, too,
okay,
that's another benefit as well, too. Now I have a role where really my family members and the next generation are going to benefit massively. So now it kind of becomes this like intergenerational tool for the family to properly be able to distribute or access information wherever they need.
fantastic. Daniel, do you have anything else to add there?
Yeah, I'd add on 2 points. The first being from the advisor perspective, we recognize that in order to make the advisor's life more efficient, imagine they don't have to worry about the paperwork. Imagine that we recognize there's requirements for our platform to integrate into the technical architecture of a wealth advisor. So the onboarding process, account opening, transfer forms, all of those processes, imagine that being streamlined and all that documentation going right into a vault, the advisor getting their commission reports and so on delivered to them through their own vault. So it takes away the administration effort on a day-to-day basis that the advisor has to do, and streamlines their operations. And again, back to the compliance, people don't like compliance is, well, it's not my problem, but it isn't until it is, right? And you want to be compliant. You want to be comfortable you're compliant, that you can grow your business and you're not missing a beat. So we cover that piece for the advisor and for the organization and the chief compliance officer, and you're making sure you can grow, you don't become too big to manage, and you can scale. And then from the client perspective, Kristian nailed it. It's that idea of, I have a vault now, my documents, my statements are delivered through that vault. I can start to bring in documents for my family and permission in my family into that vault. So my G2 can understand who my advisor is, right? So, that doesn't mean they have to go with that advisor. We all know the intergenerational wealth transfer risk for advisors, but you may have a relationship now with the child of the client, right? So now it's put your driver's license in there. It's secure. I can't read it. You can permission me in if you want, but you're now securing everything centrally structured and so on. So advisor and client benefit. And I think it's a win-win. It's not just the intergenerational issue. It's more of your documents are secure, like we spoke about earlier. You know where everything is. You can sleep at night. The advisors can sleep at night. The investor clients can sleep at night, know that everything is structured and taken care of.
Yeah, and I'll just add something there, because Daniel, I love how you were phrasing that. Is, think of any one of us as a client of a firm or a wealth manager, and before having a centralized location where we could easily just go in and access documents if you needed to look for statement or wanted some sort of information, maybe it's your estate plan and your financial plan, like, it could be a disaster for clients. It can be very, very, very cumbersome. I mean, you still see it today in the marketplace, which is where we're helping firms. Is you go on their website and they've got client login buttons, and then you'll see, especially for the multi-custodial firms, and it's like, hey, custodian 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then if you want to access your financial plan or your portfolio performance reports, you've got to go to all of these different solutions as well. So, really, Daniel hit a spot on, right? It's the firm and advisor value and benefit there from an efficiency and having everything secure in one spot. But that then translates to, well, you're going to be able to deliver more value to your clients, which means you're going to be able to engage with them in many different ways and in more ways. And then, of course, at the end of the day, it's, how do you build more trust? How do you build more loyalty? How do you get more retention with your clients, right? And so, as you can probably tell, Ryan, like, we're very bullish on this being a tool to do just that precisely.
Guys, there's so much to unpack there. Kristian, you started off by saying two very important things right now in this industry is security and accessibility, right? And a vault, it sounds like, offers both of that security for your payment, especially now when you hear so many large companies are being hacked and in data breaches. Now you've got security, which is so important, especially in this industry. Then you have accessibility. You have these younger generation, they want data at their fingertips, right? They don't want to wait for the next day or a week to get information. So Vault now offers that, which I think is fantastic, especially in today's industry. Another thing is, in trends in this industry, we're seeing more and more financial advisors are outsourcing their investment management. Now, like Chris, you guys just said, now it's not just a financial advisor. You've got all these other partners that are helping to manage money. Now a vault, and it makes the financial advisor so much more important. And the central point is now all those documents now can be in one central location, whether they're coming from a different asset manager, a separately managed account, all over the place. Fantastic. You guys both talked about the transfer of wealth. It's been well documented that we are in the midst of the greatest wealth transfer in history. In fact, I feel like this transfer of wealth has been going on for decades, as it's been making headlines for a long time. And you guys kind of mentioned and touched on it, how can digital or client vaults play a role in the greatest wealth transfer in history?
Yeah, I'll take a crack at this one first. I mean, we again, another topic that, even Daniel and I, we talk about this all the time. We just gave a webinar on this not too long ago about how firms can sort of button up their strategies and not just retain the current set of clients, because you got to focus on that current client first, right? And then you sort of grow and look at G2, G3. But what I would say is, well, let's take a step back about what we know about the great wealth transfer. And it's, somewhere along the lines of more than, I think, 70% of heirs are likely to fire or change financial advisors after inheriting their parents' wealth. That's a stat that's referenced by Cerulli Associates. So this is huge. We always say, it's impending doom or impending opportunity for advisors. And so it's, what is your moat strategy going to be like in preserving those client relationships and those assets? So transfer of wealth, a lot of implications on how firms and businesses and advisors are running or should be running their business. That boils down to, how do you participate in conversation with clients and with the next generation? We see digital vaults actually being, and we're starting to see this based on feedback from our clients and our customers, that a vault is a bit of a linchpin strategy. It's so critical in having the information structured on demand in a place for family members. It goes back to access, Ryan. We were just talking about access and availability, right? It goes back to having access to that, and not just for the client, for additional family members, for G2 eventually, for G3. And then, of course, I like how you brought up the role of an advisor, because that role of an advisor is really, you're a football guy, so I'll use the analogy of the advisors. Is really becoming more of like a modern day quarterback, right? Where they've got their arms in a bit of everything for the clients, and they're sort of like navigating or pointing the ship to it, to press things forward, right? And so a vault offers the ability to now bring everything into one place. You don't have to go out there and look for and find and spend so much time looking for information. So really, and I'm kind of rambling on here a lot, but, having that structured digital vault is the central repository for all things, all information, all data, all documents for clients. And it's important, in critical circumstances like wealth transfers or passing of a family member, retirement of an advisor even. So I'll pass that over to Daniel, because I feel like I took up a little bit too much time.
No, that was perfect.
Yeah, and I would just I think that that why would a G2 or G3 fire their advisor? And it's about trust, right? And so if the family office, if the family's starting to build that trust with the advisor and the documents are in there, in a life event, that's where everything matters. And the role of an advisor to help the family be comfortable that everything's under control. And because that's the last time you want to be, to your point earlier, Ryan, scrambling around for documents and the stresses they're in. So I think it helps the family. And if the family can always move to a different advisor, we always know that, but have that relationship now. If I have a 15-year-old daughter and her license is in my vault, it's protected, my advisor can't see it, but sometimes she needs it, or, it needs a passport, cover, that type of thing. It's in one spot and it'll be branded. So she'll know about ABC Financial. She might not know much about it, but from a very young age on that mobile phone, it's branded. I know I have my, my resume in there, my report card, and my, passport photo, let's say. So, but it is the life events that matter. And that could be a marriage, right? That could be a marriage, a good life event, but everything is structured and in there. And as life gets more complicated, and companies like single family offices have trust structures and they're complex, and the holding relationships and so on, having that all structured in a single vault for the family, I think is just perfect for ensuring multi-generational trust.
Great points there. Fantastic conversation regarding this. And one of my questions I had that you answered right at the beginning is this something that you can add personal documents to, like a driver's license? And when you start adding the personal documents to, as you guys were talking, just brought me back to, now you're making that relationship between the financial advisor and client sticky, right? Yeah. Now it's not, before, it's not really that difficult to move your assets from one financial advisor to another. It's a couple forms and boom, you're done. Now, all of a sudden you have all this paperwork and data and documents that are so important to a family in your vault. Now it becomes a lot stickier, that relationship. And I have a lot of conversations with financial advisors, and one of their biggest concerns is, how do they connect to that younger generation to keep that money in-house? And with a vault and in starting that relationship, like you said, Daniel, at the age of 15, with an ID, with a passport, a diploma, now all of a sudden you're making that relationship, that relationship, you're creating a better, deeper relationship, and you're making it stickier. With this conversation now, I'm just realizing, a digital vault really should be a foundation, or a main component of your practice and of your technology stack. Talking about transfers, sticking with this theme of transfers, can digital vaults make succession planning a smoother process?
Absolutely.
I'll take a shot at that.
Yeah, you go. Yeah, you go ahead. Yeah.
And I definitely think it is. So the way our vaults are structured, think of the household in a normal, there's householding structures and joint accounts and so on and so forth. And our documents and the way we manage documents, we can tag metadata. So we can manage the complex structures and, who has visibility to what and so on. So the tagging and metadata of the documents within the vault helps with the succession process, and visibility to who has visibility to the documents they have permission to see. And then it's clear and transparent for execution if it's through, an estate plan, let's say. So, having, and again, that lawyer, we do have a patent. One of our patent is what we call trusted advisors. So let's say you have your lawyer will have access, depending on the permissioning matrix you provide to that lawyer, access to certain documents, folders, and those that are tagged with the metadata that you've given the permission to the lawyer to access. So if there's multiple lawyers, you can make that matrix work according to your succession plan. But at least it's all centralized and available on demand and transparent. There's an audit trail. So any documents uploaded, downloaded, accessed, read, etc., there's an audit trail. So that provides that, again, peace of mind that everything is secure and transparent but secure. And again, the metadata we can apply to the documents helps our security model on who has visibility into what for their purpose, for their role.
Perfect. And I apologize, Daniel, for the doorbell in the background. I think the joys of working from home, you get unexpected doorbell rings. I think I might have got a delivery from Amazon just there. So
oh, no worries, no worries. I think there might be a fire alarm going here too. So
yeah. Kristian, do you have anything to add there?
Yeah, I mean, I love this conversation because succession planning just fits so naturally into like Daniel just spelled it out and laid it out so well too, right? And if you look at, just even from a high level of succession planning for advisors in their business, right? It's, there's a lot going on there, right? You talk about, well, let's first look at all the M&A activity that's taking place in the space, right? Mm-hmm. But then also you look at, hey, there's this current generation of older advisors looking to retire and sell their business as well too. So it's what Daniel just described equals more value for your firm and for your practice, which equals your firm is going to be way more attractive if you have all of those things in place in order for either, let's see, if it's an aggregator coming to snatch up and, roll things under their umbrella, it's easier to scale. And for an advisor, taking over maybe a smaller shop, again, for them, you're alleviating a lot of the administrative burden there, right? So, I mean, it's all things like document and information organization. It's you've got the secure storage, you can check off the compliance and the data privacy piece. You can look at, hey, how am I going to be able to collaborate and share and just manage the network of trusted advisors better? Well, we've got a vault for that as well, too, like Daniel said. We have patents to support that as well too. So, a lot of just a lot of practical use cases there with digital vaults.
Great. What are some misconceptions about digital vaults? I mentioned there's the cloud. I feel as if there's some, I don't want to say cheaper or discount versions of digital vaults out there, but are there some misconceptions that are floating around the industry?
A lot, actually. And Daniel, if you don't mind, I can go in and pass it over to you. I think, the one that we come across often is until they see what our vault is that, we're using platform ABC, we have a vault. Right. And it's nothing more than a very limited basic feature of just a document dumping ground. Really, there's no structure to it. There's no collaboration, sharing efficiency. You can't really automate from different systems into it. So there's no real wealth transfer effect in play there, like we talked about. And even from a compliance perspective, you're not really meeting document retention or books and records requirements. So a misconception for us is that, hey, if you're thinking about the feature vault that you have in maybe this all-in-one solution that you're using, I would really, really, really warn and caution you to take that as an actual digital vault that'll allow your practice to scale, because you're not going to be able to scale that way. So that's what I had top of mind for that one.
Yeah, I'll add on that too. Some of the challenges, to Kristian's point, every technology stack, usually every component will sometimes have a document section or a vault section, as Kristian mentioned. And it's kind of the last thing that the technology thinks about. It's like, look, where do we want to do the portfolio management or any piece of the CRM, et cetera. Documents are like, yeah, we'll just kind of have a placeholder for that. And to Kristian's point, it's like a hopper, just dump it all in there. And yet our view is that it starts with the documents. That is you. That is the client. That is where everything starts, right? All the data associated with the documents, that is the centerpiece of financial services. And so we take it very seriously. And so that's all we do, And so when we talk to companies, they may say, buy or build, just dump it on the cloud. It's like, wait. There's more to it than that. And, a lot of these, places, if it's in a Gmail, if it's in some form that might be not so secure, and the content's accessible, frankly. So we only focus on this area. We do educate our clients on SOC 2 type standards that fintech companies have to comply with to demonstrate that we have controls, we have the security around having secure data in a vault that we have in our platform. So, I think it's overcoming we'll get to the documents later versus no, it starts with the documents and data, make that initial onboarding client experience world-class, for example, and ongoing. And then it's everything, again, back to everything we spoke about. It's centralized, secure, and controlled, and so on. Yes, it's on a cloud. We're cloud agnostic, but it's still, you have backup, you have redundancy, and all those features of the cloud that make it so attractive.
Yeah, and I want to add one thing here because just I love the way Daniel put it with, and it's a vision of ours that we share collectively across the organization, which is digital vaults becoming the centerpiece of financial services and wealth management. We are seeing that play out in real time. We are seeing that vaults have moved and are beginning to move even quicker now from being, it's a nice to have thing that I'm going to provide my client, right? To like, this is an unequivocal must-have piece of technology for a modern financial services, modern wealth firm, modern broker-dealer, modern RA, modern family office. Like, you need to have a digital vault in order to help you scale. And so if you look at what digital vaults are doing and what they're going to continue doing at even an accelerated rate, is really it's about connecting the disconnected within the organization with external parties, having everything centralized into one place. And so that leads to, you've got massive efficiency gains through things like APIs and automation. You've got cost savings because you're alleviating the manual administrative burdens of having to do those tasks, those redundant tasks. At the same time, really what you're doing, just kind of bringing it back to the concept of personal life management, is you're really introducing and providing a new value proposition paradigm at the enterprise, at the advisor, and at the client level.
Fantastic. Great conversation. So much information and insights you guys provided. Real quickly, we only have a couple minutes. I'd like to end with a fun story. Something interesting that maybe you've experienced recently. It can be professional, personal, just something kind of lighthearted, fun. Keep this is a family show. Keep it clean.
This is a family show. I love it.
I'll start. I kind of somewhat shamelessly plugging the product, but I have 3 children, and 2 of my children were they went on an overseas student exchange type program into Central America, and this is during the early mid time of COVID, and they're you're always worried about your children, but they're away and they seem to be having fun and you get in the pictures. And I was at dinner, and you got the text message, and you see it's from one of the children, and it's hope it's okay, but there's a bit of a panic and exclamation mark. Dad, I need my vaccine passport to get back on the plane to get back to home. And so I was, you're at dinner, you're okay, what do you do? And I had the vault. And I just used my vault permission, send my son, the screenshot of his, QR code vaccine passport, and he got on the plane. Like, he was in the airport, and he was not on, right? So, these are the joys of having a family, but it's back to that was there when I needed it. We had a good chuckle, but I think of what would have happened had we not had that. And then, who's hopping on a plane to go get our kid?
Right.
So,
they might still be stuck there.
You bet. So, I kind of shamelessly plug in the product, but it's good fun.
No, perfect. Kristian, a quick one.
Oh, wow. Putting me on the spot here, Ryan, are you? That's tough for me to beat, but I don't have anything overly fun. I've got a 3-year-old at home, so most of my time, if I'm not working, I'm busy with my 3-year-old. The other day we were going around the neighborhood just picking up acorns. So I literally spent about an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours, going to different trees, finding acorns. So no vault story. But in due time, when Zach gets his own vault, I'll make sure I put the pictures of the acorn in the vault for him. Yeah.
I have a 6-year-old, so they're very similar. You just do these really simple things in life that you don't think about, and it's fun. You can look back at it and it's like, acorns. Who knew acorns were going to be so much fun? Now my son is at a bike park going over bike ramps and stuff like that and crashing, and Acorn sound a lot better. So, all right, gentlemen, thank you so much, Daniel and Kristian, for joining the show. Quickly, where can the audience get more information about FutureVault?
Yeah, you can find us online. FutureVault.com is our website. You can also find us all across social media. Just at FutureVault is that's most of our handles. We're very active on LinkedIn. And of course, if anyone needs to reach out to Daniel or myself directly, you can find both of us on LinkedIn as well too. We'd be more than happy to chat about all things we talked about today and even more digital vaults.
Fantastic. Thank you, everyone, for listening to this episode of Zephyr's Adjusted for Risk podcast. Thank you, and have a great rest of your week.
Thank you, Ryan.
Thank you, Ryan.